Okay, so I think we're live now here in our new green room chats. I'm Denise McGovern, Vice President of Communications here at the Dallas Symphony, and we are here this morning with our President and CEO, Kim Noltemy, and violinist Maria Schleuning, who's our Norma Don Stone Chair. So Kim, take it away.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm actually live in the Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Center Green Room. And this is the second in a series of Green Room chats. And today we're going to talk with Maria. And Maria, so life has changed completely for you in the last 6 weeks, like it has for all of us. So tell us what you're up to at home these days.
Hey, well, I'm here at home, as you said, in East Dallas, and I am talking to you from my violin studio, which is kind of situated up in the trees in my house, which is nice. It's my little tree house. But I have continued to practice every day, of course, and then having time to exercise, doing some cooking, spending time in the garden, cleaning lots of closets, doing lots of odds and ends like that, just to kind of get myself ready for when this is over.
That's great. Now, tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you started with the Dallas Symphony, when, maybe you have a funny audition story or not. Just give us a little background. That would be wonderful.
Okay, well, 1994 was the year that I auditioned, and I had been a student getting my master's at Juilliard, and I stayed in New York a little bit. I was freelancing and taking orchestra auditions, and Dallas was really probably, I'd never thought of living in Dallas, but I took the audition for the Dallas Symphony because it had such a fine reputation. Came here, and my audition, I remember, it was before, well, the Meyerson Hall was very new, but for some reason that day, they couldn't have auditions in the Meyerson. So I had my audition at Fair Park, which was interesting. The acoustics are nothing like the Meyerson. And anyway, I was lucky enough to win that audition, and I've been here ever since.
That's wonderful. I'm amazed that your audition was at Fair Park, though. That's
I think I was the only one at that time.
So you also are the artistic leader of Voices of Change. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that group?
Sure, I would. Voices of Change has been around for 45 years now. It's an old new music group, and we perform works by 21st and 20th century composers. A lot of living composers, but we do go back and visit significant composers like Bartok and ones that you have heard of now. The ensemble is a chamber ensemble, and it's based on a Perot ensemble, which is a combination. It was Schoenberg wrote a very, very important piece called Perot Lunaire, and he wrote it for clarinet, flute, violin, cello, piano, and it also had a singer and percussion. So that's really what makes up the main ensemble, but we're free with that. We use a lot of people in the symphony to join us and play concerts, and it's all new music, all fun, creative.
That's great. How often do you perform with that chamber group?
Well, we have 4 subscription concerts every year, and then we also do smaller events. We have educational events. We do a young composers competition for high school and college age students, and I was so excited to hear that our winner from last year just got a great offer at Peabody for to do his master's, and it's all paid. He has an assistantship, and really thrilled for him. And we are also part of a national competition too for composers, and we represent the Southwest region. So we do things like that, and then some special events, house concerts, and things like that.
So in addition to that work, are you doing other teaching?
I am, and I've explored this Zoom teaching a little bit. I can't say that I like it as much. It's nothing like playing, like teaching a lesson in real life. And I feel like I want to be more hands-on, and I have a hard time hearing sound quality. Makes you realize that there's just nothing like the live performance. But it's a way to get by right now, and we're doing our best.
And what typical age students do you teach?
Well, right now I just have a couple because I stay busy with Voices of Change and with the Dallas Symphony job, and I'm usually not this free. So I have a couple. I have one that's 12, and then I have one that's 16.
So tell me about some of your favorite memories performing with the orchestra. Could be recent or a long time ago or anything in between, but I think audiences are always curious, what is the most memorable night or performances or music for orchestra members, considering that you're doing this all the time?
Okay, there are so many special moments that we've had, but I will say just this past season when we did that performance with Maestro Luisi of Salome, that was really incredible for me. It was something very, very special. Of course, as an orchestra, we don't have the opportunity to play a full opera work like that very often, so it was new for us, and it was exciting. I was amazed at how quickly he was able to pull that off with an orchestra. He'd never played that work before. And it was fabulous. It was really exciting, inspiring. I learned so much, and I feel like we all did. We grew a lot from that experience. Over the years, I've also enjoyed touring. We've taken European tours and played at Carnegie Hall, and opportunity to share our music with other people around the world and in those great halls has been something that I've really appreciated.
So yesterday, a virtual tour of the Meyerson Symphony Center launched. KERA put it together, and we worked closely with them, and Mort Meyerson himself is narrating it or guiding it, if you will. Tell us your feelings about the Meyerson. I mean, it's known as a great hall acoustically, but would you mind elaborating on that a little bit?
No, not at all. I love the Meyerson. I think it's a true gem. I think we're so lucky to have a hall like that. And that was one thing when I first came here. I told you I had my audition in Fair Park, and when I first came to the Meyerson, I was just blown away. They took me for a tour, and I just thought it was absolutely amazing. And I feel privileged every time I walk in there. I mean, to be able to work there, to be able to rehearse there, and it's our office. And it's gorgeous acoustically. It's wonderful. I can't say enough fantastic things about it.
So what other halls have you performed in that you enjoy a lot? Probably Carnegie Hall, but are there others that come to mind?
Yeah, the Musikverein, and when we played there, I loved that when we were in Vienna. And let's see, I think another favorite, I'd have to say, I played one time in the hall in Berlin with the surround audience. I think that was fun too. That was a different experience. And then we played in the sister hall of the Meyerson when we were over in England, and that was fun too. It was set up much the same. I like our hall better, of course, but I'm biased. But same design, and it was fun. It was a little bit surreal to step in and feel like you were in something that was so close to your own home.
So how did you first start playing the violin? Did you choose it? Was it chosen for you? How old were you? All of that?
I was 6 years old and youngest of 3 girls, always wanting to do what my sisters were doing. And they both were playing musical instruments, and I would follow along when I was little and go to lessons. And one of my sisters started with piano, and at the piano lesson, if she didn't know what the next note was, apparently I used to sing it out loud. I'd get impatient with her. So I always liked music. And it was really my mom who said to me one day, "Would you like to play the violin?" And at that time, I had no clue what a violin was. And I just said yes, because I wanted to play a musical instrument. And so that's kind of how it got started, and just kind of took off from that point on. I'm the only musician in the family, the only one that pursued it seriously, but it was something I just loved from the beginning.
And you're married to a musician as well, so it's a calling in your family.
It is. Yes, my husband was principal trumpet of the Dallas Symphony for many years. He's retired, and now he conducts the youth orchestra in town, and I mean, he loves that. But yes, it's been fun. I tease him. I said I married him in spite of the fact that he was a trumpet player. He had the strings and brass separation when I was in school. So, but yeah, that's been fun. And with my studio here, he helped design my violin studio and made it. He soundproofed it. Now I don't know how to take that, if that's like a good thing or if I should take that personally. But anyway, I can come up here anytime and play and not bother anybody.
Well, I'm sure he did it as a labor of love, because your playing is beautiful. So of course they would want to hear it, but just to protect you from being distracted. So what was the pivotal moment when you knew that this is what you wanted to do for a career? Because we all know how difficult it is to be a professional musician, to reach that level, to win auditions, and you know, you have to have such tenacity and skill. I always say it's like you're a genius and Olympian at the same time, because it's physically challenging, the coordination necessary, and you know, just to have the muscle memory and the coordination combined with the intelligence to be able to play different music every single day. So when did you know this is what you wanted to do?
I think really when I was in high school was when I really was determined that was my path and that was my calling. Two significant events. One was that I was in a national competition. At that time, it was 17 Magazine and General Motors had a violin competition for high school students, and I was a finalist in that. And when I was there, the violinist that won that year was Joshua Bell. And of course, he was just amazing. And I was totally blown away, inspired. I met a lot of musicians that, like myself, were from different parts of the country. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, so it was a little more remote. And it was fun just meeting people that were playing on that kind of a level. I think I felt very inspired. The following summer, then I went to Tanglewood, to the BUTI program, and spent the summer there. And I studied with the Boston violinist Mary Lou Speaker, who had also been from Portland, Oregon. And so we had that connection because we'd had the same teacher. And I had the most fabulous summer listening to the Boston Symphony, meeting people my age that were serious about music like I was. And after that, it was like no turning back. I was like, okay, this is what I have to do. I'm going to do it.
That's wonderful. Do you ever get back to Tanglewood? As you know, I know that place very well.
I know you do, and you're very, very. Yes, I've been back a couple times in the summer to visit, and just I took my husband and my son there, and we visited friends in the orchestra, and yeah, I love it. Very, very special place.
It is. So tell us a little bit about your love of new music, because you know, many people who are classical music subscribers and fans aren't as excited about hearing new music as we may hope they would be, considering that it is our duty and responsibility to bring new music into the repertoire, and therefore this has to be a certain amount of it, even in a full orchestra environment. But of course, as a chamber group, that's all you're doing. So you may be able to give some wisdom to the audience so that they can get more excited about it.
Well, I think the first thing is that I think people often have this idea or conception that new music is scary or that it's ugly. which is definitely not true. There's so much beautiful music that's being written. I think there's some that is hard to hear. I mean, maybe listening, we're not used to listening to the same harmonies and the same context as earlier classical music, but I think what music should do is make you feel something or invoke something. And I think there are many ways of doing that. And the more you start to listen to the music and explore it, I think the more you start to feel comfortable with it, listen for different things. I think that without new music, I mean, we're lost with classical music in general, because we have to keep having new music to have the old music. And also, I think it's just an important creative process for all of us, and it tells the story of our time, what's going on in the world right now, like, especially now with this devastating virus. I mean, you wonder how it's going to affect us all. There will be lots of changes, and I think that will be seen in the music, how people express their music. And I always just say that it's nothing to be scared of. None of us really know. Like when I pick up a new piece, I have no idea what it's going to be like. Sometimes there are new techniques that I know nothing about. And you don't have to know anything to just listen and get the experience from it. We want you to feel.
Well, and that's an interesting point. When you get a new score, something you've never played before, whether or not it's a new piece or something like Salome that just isn't in the traditional orchestra repertoire for many orchestras, how do you approach that?
Differently, with something like Salome, of course, I was able to listen to it, recording before we did it, and that was, that helped. It gave me an idea of the whole work, just from a point of view of just listening. Then we had great guidance from our music director. But with new music that's just been written, there are no recordings or whatever. Sometimes I don't know, I look at it visually. I'll study the score first and go over the structure and the details, figure out things like where the main climaxes are, or what kind of sound the composer is going for. And then I try to imagine that a bit. Then I actually pick up the violin and start working with it and exploring with the sounds and what it means to me. I like being to still be creative, like not feeling, I know there's this wonderful thing about new music that it's great. We can ask the composers all these questions and they can tell us things, and that's super, but I still like to have that bit of freedom of telling the story in my own way too. So that's fun.
Well, and I think you made a great point earlier that I try to convey a lot to potential audience members or audience members who don't come that frequently to concerts, that really it's just about listening to the music. You don't have to study it. You don't have to know a lot about it. You just come in and listen. If you do, take the time to read the program notes or listen to some excerpts or something before you come to a concert, that's great. But just the idea that this music is accessible to everyone, all you have to do is sit down and whatever you get out of it is the important thing. And I think you talked about that, and I don't know if you want to add anything to what I just said.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's like reading a book. You read a book, it can be about something that you know nothing about, but you're reading that book and you're gaining something from it in some way. You're understanding it, you're processing it in your own way. And I think it's the same with new music. I think the experience is different for everybody, and that's the way it should be. That's what's so exciting about it. You come in and you open yourself up to a different world, something that you can't really describe with words, and you don't have to. That's the great thing. You can just come and enjoy it in your own way, in your own time, and just by yourself, really.
So you have a son, and many musicians want their kids to play an instrument or play really seriously. And I feel like there's two schools. Of course, there's a lot in between, but I know many musicians who their kids become very serious musicians. And then I know many musicians whose kids become very serious at something other than music. And it always surprises people in a way that, well, why aren't your kids able to do what you do? And you know, it's a calling kind of thing. So what was your approach with your son and seeing if he wanted to play or not play or be involved with music?
Well, we wanted him to have an understanding or just study music a little bit. So he did start by playing the piano, which he was very good at, and he did well, but it wasn't a passion for him. I would say, okay, you know, when you're playing the piano, you need to practice every day. And we had a different situation because he was 7.5 when we adopted him. We brought him home from China. And he was up for anything. He wanted to try everything. And his enthusiasm was wonderful. But with the piano, it was funny. It was so cute because I'd say, okay, just, 15 minutes, but we do it every day. And we sit down and do it. So he would sit down and he'd set a timer and he'd practice 15 minutes, and the minute, ding, boop, he was off to do something else. I thought, And I just knew for myself that I always liked playing and I wanted to do more. 15 minutes would not have been enough for me, but he did it. And he, after a couple years, he said, I really don't think this is my thing. And I said, fine. At that point, we were trying to keep up with his Chinese too. So it came down between Chinese or piano. And we chose the Chinese, which he's stuck with. And anyway, he's ended up being, he's really interested in different things. He's super academically minded, and he's also a great athlete, and he loves sports. So tennis has been really kind of a focus. And I found that the tennis for him has been the same kind of thing that the violin was for me. I mean, it's a great discipline. He has to practice every day. He has to keep himself in shape like we do with our instruments. And then mentally, there's so much you can learn from that game. You have to be strong mentally and really think about what you're doing. And for me, not growing up being much of an athlete, I found it so much fun to go to a tennis lesson and listen, because it was so much like a violin lesson in a lot of ways. Just how technically how you produce your shot is a lot like producing a sound on an instrument. And I was fascinated by that. I thought it was fun. And so I think I've just totally relished the fact that he likes different things, because it's opened a new world to me, and I've gained experiences through him. He's also been a very good sport about being supportive of our music and coming to concerts. He's been to more concerts than any tennis player I know. And he's been a very good sport about it. So he enjoys music. He is, he's a typical teenager now. He listens to music that I don't listen to, but that's great. That's his thing. That's his time of life. I think that's good. I think we're all different, and I rejoice in that, actually.
Well, he sounds like an amazing son, and I've met him briefly once, but I hope I get to know him a little bit better at some point. So you're all home more than you typically are, and are you binge watching anything? Are there good books? Are you doing puzzles? What are you up to when you're not cleaning closets and practicing?
Well, I've been having a good time in our garden, actually. It's been nice just to be outside. That's been a nice break. And I enjoy, I'm a total novice, but I've had fun doing some flower arranging. And of course, I mean, it's just, I know nothing about it, but bring a little bit of the outdoors and a little cheer into the house. That's been a lot of fun for me. I've been enjoying that. I've also been reading. I have been reading for my book club is still going on through Zoom. And so I've been reading books and catching up on things that I didn't read last year because I was so busy too. So I have some books that I didn't get read for my book club that I'm going through right now too, which I'm enjoying. We've been doing, movie night Friday nights. We're kind of keeping the same schedule during the week. My son, his school's been very rigorous about his schedule, which I've been happy about. So he's had, his online classes. He has lots of homework. He's very, very busy with that. So he works during the day. And so weekends are still weekends for us. And it's been nice for me to be home on a weekend, actually. Also the meals together. I've been enjoying having meals together because so often, we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday night concerts, and he gets home and his practice after I've already left for the concert. So I've enjoyed that time too, in cooking a little more. Again, my cooking skills, they're not great, but I enjoy cooking, and I've had fun exploring more and getting out of the crock pot a little bit and doing something a little more advanced.
So when this is all over, and obviously there's lots of work and other things to catch up on, but when you have some vacation time next and we can all do whatever we want, where would you all like to go? What are you looking forward to? Of course, I know you're dying to be on the stage of the Meyerson. We don't even need to discuss that, but feel free if you'd like. But in addition to that, what else would you like to be doing?
Well, yes, you're right. I mean, we're so eager to get back to performing and being on stage in the Meyerson. But we had, like everybody else, we've had disappointments. There's a lot of things that we haven't been able to do. And this has affected everybody in a tremendous way. And we had vacation. We were going to go to Paris and London, actually, for a family break, because we've done a lot of traveling together. It's been part of what I really wanted for education for my son, is to travel and see a lot of the world, especially since he was from a different place in the world. And so, I mean, I'd love to get back to being able to travel. I don't know how long that will be. My music festivals this summer, we all went as a family in the summer to different festivals. Most of them have been canceled. There's still one at the very end of the summer that we're hoping for, but and I think just being with people again, in person. I think that's what I'm really looking forward to. I mean, it's been fun being able to do the Zoom, and it's great seeing you guys. I miss you guys so much, like at work. But there's just nothing like the personal, every day-to-day contact. And I want to go back to Oregon and visit my family, maybe spend some time at the coast. That would be nice.
So have you done Zoom cocktail hours?
I have, and that's been fun because it's been with people like all over the place, not just here and the people that I usually see. So it's given me a chance to reconnect with people and revisit my past a little bit. I feel like musically too, when you were asking me about all the new music, so often I'm working on new music, and I found that during this period I've been just the opposite. I've kind of gone back to the older composers, working on Bach and Beethoven, things like that. And it's fun. It's sort of reminiscing about student days and past teachers. And it's been the same way, I think, with friends, just going back over friendships. I've spent time looking. I'm a big photo person. I think I drive my family crazy with all the photos I take. But looking at old photos, I've been having fun with stuff like that too.
That's so what else would you like to tell us? I've asked you so many questions, but maybe there's something that you would like to talk about that I haven't thought of.
Well, I want everybody to know how wonderful you are as CEO. And I'm not just saying that. This is, I mean, totally sincerely, I feel like the Dallas Symphony is in the best place it's ever been. In the whole time that I've been here, we have a fabulous conductor, Maestro Luisi. He just, every concert with him inspires me. I mean, I just can't speak highly enough of him and this whole team. And it's an exciting time. I think that's what makes it so hard right now, not to be able to actually be there and be performing and participating and everything, because it just is so exciting right now. We have so much to look forward to. And I got this last week, the new brochure. And, I mean, of course, we always we knew it was announced to the orchestra what we'd be playing, but it's always so exciting to see it when it's in the final form and look through it. And it's been keeping me motivated and inspired. I think we need to look forward and be positive, and there will be good things again, and we can just look forward to them. Things will happen. We'll make them happen. So.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I'm very optimistic about the future. We know how this orchestra is amazing, and the audience in Dallas loves the orchestra, and I know is really eager to get back to the concert hall. And if we end up having limitations on how many audience members we can have, we'll make it all work. We're going to have concerts no matter what, and we're all really excited about that. And I think one thing we can say about this time at home is we've all sort of gotten to know each other in different ways, and in some ways we've become a closer family with this separation, which is a really strange outcome, but I definitely feel it. And so we are looking forward to seeing you in person. We appreciate so much you're doing this today. I think the audience who watched really enjoyed hearing from you, and we'll have this also posted online so people can watch it after the fact. And thank you for taking the time, Maria.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Kim, and it's great to see you.